The Ministry of Labour is now taking all the heat on the lecturers' strike. The striking dons accusing the ministry of failing on its duty to arbitrate on the over 1 month industrial unrest. Claims that it was acting on a snail pace to bring the warring parties to a negotiating table. This heat now on the table of Ukur Yattani, the new Labour Cabinet Secretary who is barely 3 months in office.
If we are able to negotiate, as long as it takes, then give me that opportunity. You don't have to withhold labor, and then we sit down and negotiate. And then agree on something that we'll have actually agreed even without you going on strike.
Yattani is now promising what he says will be a paradigm shift.
I've also strengthened and operationalized the National Labour Board, where all the relevant stakeholders get together, look at the views, get views from the union and the employer, and together agree on a roadmap of schedule of activities that will enable us, curtail or stop problems from going further than that.
The former governor of Marsabit endeavors to streamline operations in the somewhat chaotic sector. Even though he is keen to mediate a way out of the ongoing lecturer strike, he is concerned that some of the demands by dons are not viable.
Well, your demand for better welfare, better pay is legitimate. But against what background? Can the economy support? Can this institution allow? Are there going to be middle ground that we are going to agree on? I am going to not shy away from this, be in the center of it, sit between the two parties and ensure that we strike a balance in between.
But even as striking lecturers agitate for what they say is their right, questions about genuineness between parties involved remains a major concern to the Ministry of Labour when solving the dispute.
I urge both parties to be frank, fair, objective in the analysis and do it with absolute good faith.
For Yattani, the position taken by the striking lecturers leaves him only appealing for a tone down on positions already held. Yattani says his aim is to create a win-win outcome.
And I hope by 12th of April, by next week, I hope the employer will give, the counter offer so that the two parties can negotiate further. As long as it can take, but to negotiate and agree on a position that we are going to go back to court and present the decision of the conciliator.
But how exactly will Yattani tackle the monster that has been the lecturer strike?
I have appointed a conciliator and a senior officer in this ministry, Ellen Apio. The first meeting has taken place between WASU and the employer, the university board. They've had a very good discussion. The second round of the meeting is coming on 12th April. Both parties have duly appointed senior officers to negotiate.
For Yattani, the solution is not in the courts, which he argues are tedious, and the country must embrace alternative dispute resolution mechanisms.
I am going to institutionalize alternative dispute resolution mechanism, which is in law, to ensure that these matters can be taken out of court and be negotiated at this level and have the same force of law.
So far, he discloses that he has been holding weekly meetings with his education counterpart, Amina Mohammed, and union officials from different sectors in a bid to establish long-term solutions.
Engagement I've had with many unions since coming here is very positive. They are willing to sit with us, they are willing to work with us, they are willing to support us to ensure that any matter does not go beyond, outside the boardroom. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
For how long will we continue staying out of the classroom? This is the question that affected university students continue to ask themselves now that the lecturers have remained adamant that they will not go back to work until the government heeds to their demand. But Labour Cabinet Secretary Ukur Yattani says the government is ready to bring the stalemate to an end only if the parties involved are ready to put aside their differences for the sake of the country. Brenda Zadaradido, Channel 1 News, Nairobi.